Long story short, I finally got to end game, and I would like to do a build update progress with the new things that I found, as well as things that I know that need to be fixed. And hopefully we who are one figure out how to accomplish these things.
It's beastly, bitch.
So, I'm gonna just go into a map. I'm gonna play the map out, and after the map, I'm going to try to explain as best as I can the things that happened in the map. There are some problems, there are some things that this build just super excels at, but it needs to be known that this build is not finalized. So if you plan on using this Cadillac, you have to know that some things are going to need to be figured out, either by you or you can just stay tuned. I got this character to a safe spot, and I'm already starting my warrior now. This character is level 71 Pathfinder. The res is, like, obviously all of that's bad, but it'll get better. The main point for me of this channel is I just like demonstrating and showing different cool, unique builds and ideas. If you're interested in that kind of thing, hit the subscribe button for me. Channel, if I have it going, it will be the pinned comment, or it will be in the description, one or the other. Right, so we can just spitball ideas off of each other and assist each other whatever we need, because I just like-minded people that just like to push the game to its limits and things like that, and just trying different cool unique ideas and get to, oh, I wonder what would happen if this went with this, but then you don't have this to test with that, and then you have a community of people that can assist you and just to bring the ideas to life. We can, I don't know, put it on YouTube or do whatever we do with them. I don't know. You see the vision, I see the vision. I'm just putting it out there. So thank you anyway for checking this video out. What I'm going to do now, again, I'm just gonna start a map. We're gonna see how it goes. Don't mind my inventory. I got a little T3 right here. Let's do it. I just died. I think I did it T5. I don't know who I thought I was, but I'm not. The bugs in the room is the Ravenous Swarm. Ravenous Swarm is a new skill gem or a new spirit gem, and it's absolutely insane for what it is. It doesn't do that much damage as of now, but I plan on pushing that. That's probably my favorite skill. Oh, I died. I just said it's kind of like a disengage for.
Nowhere to run.
Kind of like a disengage for. know, that was the map. I'm gonna try to explain this without being so long-winded. From the top, right, we have Resonating Shield, our main bread and butter. Bursting Plague, Poison 3, Rage 3, Rapid Attacks 2, okay? For Shield Charge, add Mixture, Bleed 3, Stun 2, and Heft, okay? Some of these, like second and third modifiers, they on a support gem, they change the way that the support gem functions. They were not lined. So sometimes it's better to use a tier 2 support gem rather than a tier 3 one, because the tier 3 might add a modifier that you just can't use, right? I know I don't have one on, but on Rapid Attacks 3, it gives you a lot more attack speed, but it also reduces the damage that your character deals. You don't want that on this. You might want that on something else, but not on this, right? And I have an idea, just stay tuned. Remember I said that, okay? Rolling Slam, this is our main bossing ability. So whenever we fight a boss, we are rolling slamming, right? And every time we rolling slam, we have 152 chance to poison. Now, what I still don't know is if you can have incremental poisons or it rounds up or down. So I don't know if this rounds down to 1 poison or it rounds up to 2 poisons, because it's 152. But ignorance is bliss, right? If I feel like it does it, then it does, or something like that. Anyway, poison scales off of physical damage. So we're fizz stacking as much as we can and trying to get as many damage outputs as we can in a single go around. So Rolling Slam has 2 attacks, right? It does a lot of physical damage, and we give it more physical damage just with this 1 support gem. So physical damage rolls just like lightning does, but it's not as big of a gap, right? Most of the damage in this game rolls. So when we had the deepest tower, that helmet, it would always make the damage lucky, okay? And lucky damage would make it roll twice, and the second time it rolled, it would determine whether the first roll or the second roll was bigger, and then take the bigger one every time. So just like this. So chaos damage, I have, let's do this one, it's easier. So if I have 150 damage, I lied, let's do physical. So look, main hand physical damage, 846, let's just say 2200. So this max number, so what this is doing is making this number bigger, right? So it's giving it a chance to have a fat ass damage proc, but it's not guaranteed. So we're trying to get a bunch of different instances to make this number big. And mind you, this is only the first slam, and the second slam is way bigger. So what's happening is Rolling Slam, we have 150% chance to poison with everything that comes out of this skill, including our aftershock. So when we Rolling Slam, our aftershocks will also have 150% chance to poison. So that's where we're getting mathematical. That's a real word, I think. Because when we do our Rolling Slam, we do this damage, then we do this damage, and then an aftershocks comes and it does this damage, and it does this damage. And every time it does damage, it'll proc poison, right? So we do a fat ass poison proc 4 times if the aftershock procs, and they all poison, big number. 20% more magnitude of poison by supported skills against bleeding enemies. Shield charge. So what we're doing with shield charge is we're stunning them. There's no cooldown on this ability, but if you have a lot of physical damage on your shield, which is all shield abilities are all physical damage because of the armor scaling. So adding stun build up to a physical skill will just give you a bunch of stun build up, because that's what it's mainly calculated off of. Ailments have stun build up, or elements or whatever, they have stun build up, but physical stun, it will always be the biggest. That's just the way the game calculates the stun. Stun, but as you can see, the physical stun buildup is the fattest because it's taking more stun into account from the physical damage of all of this physical damage that we're doing. I hope that makes sense, bro, but it was like a word stew, but I hope it clicked a little bit. So you want to try to build some sort of synergy where you can scale one thing and get a lot of something else out of that same thing without having to scale 2 different things. right? So by simply getting a shield with a high armor value, we're in turn getting more poison damage, more bleeding damage, more stun buildup, and we get a fat poison from our aftershocks, which can then double the amount of damage that we output on our rolling slam. And I see you looking at this, but yes, porter skills have a 30% chance to not remove rage, but still gain benefits as though they have. This is from Resonating Shield. So gain 5 rage on melee hit, and you get 15% more attack speed while you are not at maximum range. This in turn means that we will probably just get 50% more attack speed, but we will also get 5 rage per melee hit. I don't know. At a boss fight, we do this. We break the enemy's armor because that's what Resonating Shield is good at. We break armor, we do a lot of damage, we poison it, right? And then once we poison it, we shield charge it because, check us out, more magnitude of bleeding against poisoned enemies. So we have bleeding on this one, we have poison on this one. So we Resonating Shield, break his shield, do a lot of physical damage for our bleed. And as you can see, we have 128 chance to bleed. So that bleed. And once they are bleeding with our maximum physical hit damage, right? That bleed is gonna be fat. So once they're poisoned, they are bled with more magnitude, by the way, and they're heavy stunned now. So our rolling slam is gonna do a lot of damage because they're just gonna sit there. They're gonna sit there in one spot. So when we rolling slam, they'll just be sitting there, and the magnitude of the bleed will be bigger because they were already poisoned. So we're going poison into a bleed into a fat ass poison, and this is gonna tick down their health really fast. Very good, very nice. Something that I have wanted to try but haven't really tried is Infernal Cry, right? So I have Infernal Cry with bleed on it and Corrupting Cry, which will inflict corrupted blood. Okay? And corrupted blood will just do physical damage. It's not bleeding and it's not affected by bleeding, but it will deal physical damage to the enemy. In my head, if I could inflict physical damage with 100% chance to poison, I'm not gonna say too much, bro, but y'all join the Discord, bro, if y'all want to try it out, or if y'all have tried it out and y'all want to let me know, or just leave a comment below. But if you want to learn how to build, if you want to help others learn how to build, and we can just hang out and shit, bro, and shoot ideas off each other, come to the Discord, bro. I'm chill. I think I'm all right. This game's dope as fuck, bro, and I'm learning a lot. Infernal Cry Leaf Slam is just a movement ability. Withering Presence. So I have 129 spirit. I probably missed some spirit in the campaign, bro, but I'm gonna go back. Whenever I finish my warrior, then I'll learn the rest of the game, but I had to drop this video. Withering Presence will make enemies 5% increased chaos damage taken and can be inflicted up to 10 times. And this is just enemies in your presence. And I look at presence. Presence is that area, that little green circle you saw around me. Let me see the little green circle a little bit. So this circle is not as big, or that circle is bigger than this circle. So anytime you hit enemies, they will already be withered in your AoE, in your area. That's why we're not focusing so much on area of effect for our Resonating Shield. What we need to try to, in fact, do is get a bunch of attack speed, right? So we can pick up the shield and put it down faster. Because whenever you're charging it to hold it up, it counts as having the shield raised. So if you're taking damage while you're getting ready to do that first attack, this is just gonna be filling up. And just think of this as like the precursor for this. If this goes all the way up, then this is going all the way down. That just is what it is, bro, unless you just have a super flask. But a super flask it'll help just a little bit if you can get like a guard flask. But just try to keep this from going up, okay? Overwhelming Presence. The only elemental element that we have is fire. We just have fire damage just as a source of fire damage. It's not doing anything. Ravenous Swarm, the elephant in the room, the bugs in the room. This is what's going to carry the build forward. Whenever I do hop back onto it and I take it all the way to the moon, this is what's going to carry it, because the way that I found this skill to work is absolutely diabolical, brother. Like, I hope that you can Ravenous Swarm is my shit. So any other YouTuber you hear talking about Ravenous Swarm, they don't Ravenous Swarm the way I fuck Ravenous Swarm. What it is it's a persistent minion skill. But what it does is it creates swarms of bugs that will always find a target. They will only spawn if you are around enemies. Once you are around enemies, they will swarm an enemy and continually attack and poison the target, right? I think people are using Ravenous Swarm right now very surface level, but the way that me and you like to think is very forward. So it's an untargetable minion that attack and poison enemies. What can you gather from that? They cannot be damaged. They can't die. 3 swarms can be active at once. Spawn a new swarm every 6 seconds, but the swarm duration is 8.6 seconds. So that means you will have overlapping swarms until everything is dead, okay? So whenever you get into a big fight, in 18 seconds, you will have a screen full of bugs that will just rapidly attack and poison the closest enemy to you, and they don't give a damn what it is. If it's big or small, if it's a totem, they don't give a damn. If it looks like it can hurt you, the swarms is going after them, and that's why I fuck with them. Since they rapidly attack, mind you, it's attack, okay? Are we still here? Since they rapidly attack, what's that? Minions from supported skills are gigantic, right? So supported minions are larger, have more life, and deal more damage, 20% increased size. The damage on this really doesn't matter, but the size of it. So not only are the bugs going to be bigger, they're going to be spaced more apart. So one swarm can hit multiple enemies. So if the swarm is bigger than the cluster of enemies, that swarm will hit all of those enemies. That's what I've been noticing. Hopefully that makes sense. And then you can have 3 swarms which can overlap and constantly apply poison and attack. But since we can only have a certain amount of poisons on a target at one time, and this isn't gonna give us a fat poison stack, right? It's just there. What if it could just stun enemies, right? What if it just stunned and stunned and stunned? So this, I have this or light stun. What that will do is if the damage dealt, if the hit is big enough, it can stun the target. But any hit can potentially light stun a target, which is just like a little flinch, right? So if we have 3 swarms of enemies that are rapidly attacking that cannot be hit or targeted, we can use this as more so of a utility than anything. So this is hypothetical. I had a cooler idea where I had this culling rare and unique enemies, where I could just do my damage, and whenever it's time for the enemy to be cold, the swarm would just go get them and attack them, and then they'll die. No matter how much damage it is, whenever it colds, it colds. That's especially good on a poison damage, which is a dot. It's a ticking dot damage that will rapidly go down. Whenever it reaches that cold threshold, the target will automatically die because of the swarm. They'll just keep attacking, they'll just keep switching targets until everything around you is dead. They're so sick, right? That's that. And supported skills blind enemies on hit. Swarms are rapidly blinding because they're rapidly attacking. Being blinded causes 20% less accuracy rating and evasion rating and lasts for 4 seconds. And this is 20% increased effect because it's an upgraded version of it. And Herald of Blood. Herald of Blood is also some supreme pudding, because whenever an enemy dies, if it has any bleeding on the target, any bleeding, so like no matter how big or small the blood is, if it's bleeding, it will explode when it dies. And when it explodes, it will poison, because I have 60% chance to poison on hit, and that brings that to 150% chance to poison. And check this out. Supported skills deal 30% more melee physical damage against bleeding enemies, and they inflict incision, or it inflicts incision. This can't bleed anyway. It can only aggravate bleeding. Okay, whatever. But whenever it explodes, it will deal more melee physical damage against bleeding enemies. Mind you, an enemy has to be bleeding for it to explode, right? And we deal damage everywhere around it. So when one enemy over here explodes, that AoE is big enough to proc a blood explosion and a poison explosion on somebody else. Because Ravenous Swarm is going to chase them anyway. I had bleed on this as well, but the bleed proc, it just wasn't enough because the Ravenous Swarm, they take a second to spawn in, mind you. It's a new swarm every 6 seconds, so you'll have one swarm out just doing damage in like an AoE about this big, and you're swarmed by people like this. And they're just fighting their hardest for 6 seconds until you can get another one this way. Then you can get another one this way. And that's why you kind of just want to always be in the mix and kind of just keep moving around and yada yada. So boom, it'll do that, and it'll give an extra poison at the end of it. That's it. That's a skill gem. Sorry that was kind of long-winded, but let's get to the money. Boom. +4 to level of all melee skills. That's all you need. I thought this was the coolest shit ever, but long story short, it doesn't affect the shield skill. The only thing we need on this and this. I don't know if this works, bro, but I think it works. So I keep buying it. Again, ignorance is bliss. All of this is trash. You just seen me die, so all of these is trash. But this, bread and butter. So, you know what this is. You know what this is. I'm gonna play the footage of how I got this. It was actually kind of crazy. This travel to hideout shit, bro, is insane.
You definitely want that one.
So I got these. All damage from hits contribute to poison magnitude. With a 27% chance to poison on hit. Get a little bit of attack speed, but it's not even enough to bark at. So what we're here for is this number and this statement. Since we have all damage from hits, mind you, from hits. So that allows us to use things like cold damage, right? And extra chaos damage. Chaos damage already contributes to poison magnitude, but I had this one at first, but this just gave me a lot more damage. But it also reduces my defenses, and it's kind of crazy. Yeah, we need all of that. Anyway, damage, where you get your main hand damage from, and what I would recommend on this is try to stack stun threshold. Try to stack as much as this as you can. I think you can get it here, you can get it on your shield, and you can get it on your boots, or in your belt. Get as much of that as you can, because that's this. And until we have a fix or something for this, that's probably the best we can do. We have to sacrifice a stat on every piece of gear so that this doesn't fill up, because again, once this fills up, this goes down. And because you're stunned for like 5 seconds, bro, just eating attacks and spells and ground effects and nukes and orbital lasers and shit, bro. You just can't do anything. You don't want that. Nobody wants that. Okay? Secondary weapon set, +4. These, the stats do matter. Since we have these, or this, we can use things like fire damage, adds lightning damage, right? We need all of that added damage because everything we do is a hit. Every single thing we do is a hit. So we hit our resonating shield, we hit our shield charge, we hit 4 times with rolling slam with aftershocks, right? And even if we use this to give us added fire damage to our attacks, that's just more hit damage that will contribute to our poison magnitude. Again, hopes this makes sense, bro. I'm all at one time, it's like a water hose, but I'm trying to just give it to you. You probably know all of this stuff already, and until I elaborate on this build more, this is the baseline for where I'm starting back up the next time I pick this character back up. And hopefully this idea resonates and somebody can figure something else out with it and make it just go insane. 2 one-handed maces because Giant's Blood got full. We're not getting nerfed with Giant's Blood. So damage. Here we get +2 to all melee skills. And then I found this aura skills have +10 or 10% increased magnitude. Cool. And I also had a little bit of spirit, which gives me exactly 0 spirit. So I don't know how that calculated out, but it did. So passive tree, 6 points. I'm only on my second ascendancy. Level 70. I don't know when I was supposed to get it, but I think that was a trial of ancestry. I just haven't went back for it. 6 points, and I got the most damaging poison on enemies you kill is spread to other enemies within 1.5 meters, which is damn near the exact thing that Herald of Plague does, right? So what I need to do is figure out a way, and like, I don't know how to explain it, bro. Like, it's stupid, but I need to get this, but I also don't need this, right? But I also need Herald of Plague so that I could use this. So I get 40% increased chaos damage if I have Herald of Plague on, but Herald of Plague does the exact same thing as this. So it's like it's counteracting itself. And I hate that for Pathfinder, bro. They've been nerfing Pathfinder, and they just been bricking her just update by update. She just getting more and more bricked. And I'm getting less and less bricked. But I need to get over here to double the number of poisons that a target can be affected by at the same time, because I've picked up all of the +1 poison nodes. So that's 1, that's 2, plus you get 2, I think, out the gate. So that's 4, and then double the number of poisons, that's 8, plus the one you get from a skill gem is 10. And with all of the shenanigans that we got going on, we could always keep up 8 poisons, because 1 resonating shield would poison everybody around us, and then once they explode, they'll poison everybody around them. So, but we got to figure something else out about this, because right now I have this, but it's almost not even worried about. It's almost not even about the poison damage. It just raw gives you physical damage while affected by Herald of Blood. And physical damage is the only way to scale skill abilities other than, I think it's attack damage, physical damage, and melee damage. You don't get damage from things like these and one-handed weapons, things like these. Increased attack speed with one-handed weapons, like none of that matters for your shield. So just keep that in mind. The only thing that we have on this side that does that really is these attack damage. Critical chance against enemies on full life is huge, but damage against enemies on full life, so that initial poison proc will be fat. And everything else, or in these, attack damage, but everything else is for poison. So down here we get damaging ailments, duration, and then they deal damage faster. Increase attack damage while moving. We will always be moving, always. So this is kind of sick. This is a new node. This is really, really good. This whole little tree. Reduced movement speed penalty. They're trying to get us from using this. So I will probably end up just backing up off of this poison and coming down here, honestly. I would 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's 2, 3, and then end up here while getting immune to freeze, because this is brick, bro. This is so brick. Like, you don't need this ever at all, really. This is a lot of skill points to come down here, and I wish I could use this for both of my main damaging abilities, but it's so with that being said, we have bleeding you inflict is aggravated, and base bleeding duration is 1 second. We don't care. We don't care how much bleeding they have. We're constantly dealing damage, and all of that damage will bleed if we're trying to make it bleed, because we have plus 100%. Then down here, 20% magnitude of damaging ailments. That's what we're here for. Chance to inflict ailments, magnitude. Could come down here and get these, but I had to sacrifice something to get this down here. See, I don't even know, bro. This kind of hurts my heart. So either I gotta sacrifice this one or just sacrifice this. But having these two going at the same time is unbeneficial. Obviously, we need to make it in here. Reduce movement speed penalty from using skills while moving. And we'll see, because if we don't have to use this or this, because we have that, this, and this, it might open up some stuff for Pathfinder. We'll see, or we will see. I'm still curious about the concoctions. What concoction would I run? if I were to run a concoction. I would like to run this, but this no longer poisons. It does acid, which is weird. It just does physical damage. But what I would run on a concoction, honestly, is bleeding concoction. Crazy as it is, it just inflicts bleeding and it aggravates bleeding. That's huge. So here we got recovered 2% of maximum mana on kill. And then here we get recovered 2% of maximum life on killing a poison enemy. Everybody we kill will be what? Say it with me, class. Poisoned. So every time we kill something, we will get 2% life, 2% mana, and there it is. Poison duration, boom, boom. That really wraps it up. When I get some more skill points, what I think I will end up doing is I really want to add more attack speed, right? Because I feel like the more attack speed that you have on the character, it will kind of in turn stop the amount of stun buildup that you'll get. Because the faster you can output an attack, the faster you can get back into full speed movement. So this is what I was talking about. So just for comparison's sake, counteracting, right? So for comparison, right? I'm not gonna time it or anything, but you see how like fast we're moving while we're hitting, right? And then this just allows you to not slow down at all, right? So you're, right? I'm full speed running, attacking, full speed running, attacking. Right? And so that'll allow you to like do like wicked shit. Boom, enemies over here, you can just boom, 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 boom. Just run off, let them explode back there. And you know, once they explode back here, that explosion will trigger this character, and it'll trigger that character, it'll trigger that character. It's really the mobility, right? So whenever you have a fat shield on, you obviously get the benefits of having more armor and more block chance or whatever, but obviously more armor because it's a fat shield. We're trying to get to a point where we can use a fat shield without any of the consequences of having a fat shield out. Pathfinder is a character for that. On top of having a fat shield on Pathfinder, we're trying to use Pathfinder to the best of her ability, which is poisonous. Poisonous bleed. And bleed isn't really her thing, but we're making bleed her thing as well. Poison, bleed, big shield, movement speed. There it is. We're Pathfinder. We're Cadillacing, baby. That's the build, though. Love y'all. Join the Discord, bro. Tap in with me. Come say hi. I'll try to have it to where all of the videos they get linked in the Discord some way, somehow. I'm gonna try to get it all sorted and figure it out. Get the bots in where you can just ask questions and I'll be able to just tap in with you and you can pick my brain, figure some stuff out. That'll do it though.
We swore our oaths to the first ones.
We kill this wretch first, then we finish what we started.
Alright then, which one of you wants to die first?
Flames consume all.
Can't save your thieves'
Out of
head.
mana.
Your head will be mine yet.
I job.